Hello everybody and welcome back to another Let's Play Star Trek Online episode. In this episode I am going to look specifically at a new starship that we just acquired, and I'm going to play Infected Space Elite. And the other two videos, of course, after this will be Cure Space Elite and then Kittimer Accord Space Elite. And this is all in our brand new starship that we just got as of yesterday. So as you know, as of this current date, the Temporal lockbox was just put online, and also in addition to that, in the low-buy store here, you can see that they have a new ship called a Temporal Destroyer. So this series of episodes is about this Temporal Destroyer. We're going to see how well it handles elite STFs, which other than PvP is the hardest thing in the game. So I was able to acquire the Temporal Destroyer. I had 800 low buy. I got up to that amount and straight up purchased it from the low buy store. I do not have the Temporal ship, the regular Science Temporal Wells class ship. I don't have that ship yet, unfortunately. If I'm able ever to acquire that ship, or somehow by some miracle ever get that ship, I will also make videos using that ship. That ship, the Wells class, is a flat-out science vessel. The Temporal Destroyer, however, is more of an escort. And if we look at the its description of it, it's actually called the Mobius class. The reason for this, even though it's based on the Wells class, is the fact that it is from the Mirror Universe. It is basically the 29th century equivalent of the Wells class time ship in the Mirror Universe. And that's it. So it's a Mirror Universe version of the Wells class. However, because it's from the Mirror Universe, it is based entirely more on weapon power, destruction. It's got a higher hull strength, a better hull strength. However, it does have a lower shield modifier. So it also, that means it is geared more towards tactical stations rather than science stations. However, it has some universal slots, so I guess you could make it however you want to. But it's really supposed to be geared, I guess, more technically to a tactical officer or an engineer officer. However, I am playing it on my science officer. So as a science officer, I'm not going to have the highest DPS possible. But one unique thing about the Mobius class is that it supports cannons. You can put cannons on it. So with a decked out cannon solution, even on a science officer, it can be pretty powerful. And that's about the best way to get the most DPS out of a science officer anyway, is to have an escorty type ship, more tactical, more cannon type stuff. And that's just the best way to do it. So here you can read about the ship. It comes with a device called a Mannheim Device, and it allows you to create a past version and a future version of yourself in space. And what that does is it basically confuses the enemy because they don't know which version is you. And also at the same time, they have power and abilities the same as you do. However, the past version of yourself, if they take hull damage, you also take hull damage. It kind of moves up to you because that's the past version of you. However, the future version of yourself does it can take damage, but that damage does not translate back to you. So it sounds a little confusing, but time travel, I know, temporal mechanics, but you know, there's basically a past version, they can take damage, which translates to you. A future version of yourself, they can take damage, which does not translate to you, and it confuses the enemy. I have found that this, in combination with Photonic Fleet, is phenomenal, because Photonic Fleet, from a science officer, will spawn 3 vessels, right? So you can enable that, then plus your Mannheim device, and you have 5 vessels. That's incredible. 5 vessels fighting for you, plus the 2 that you create from the Mannheim Device confuses the enemy anyway. They don't know who to fire at. So, and then of course you've got that photonic fleet, confuses them even more. I mean, they just have more, you know, things to fire on. So it's a very, very powerful combination, this Mannheim Device plus photonic fleet. I have found it to be really, really good for a science character, because your DPS is low anyway. The more ships you can have with firepower is going to increase that DPS. So there you go, straight out, it just makes sense. Now you can combine the Mannheim Device with the Templar cylinder on the Temporal Wells class time ship, and if you do that, then you get an ability called a Temporal Backstep, which rewinds time. However, I have to have both ships in order to get that console. Those 2 consoles actually, because I need the Templar console in addition to the Mannheim console to give me that backstep ability. So I don't have that ability on this ship yet, but I do have the Mannheim console. So here's the stats on it. It's 33,000 hull strength, shield modifier of 1.05. That shield modifier is lower than the Wells class, which I think is 1.45 or something like that. So it has a less shield capacity. However, it has a higher hull strength than the Wells class. The Wells class is like 30,000 hull or something, and this one is 33. So it has more hull strength but less shields. So I guess that's their way of balancing it out, right? Crew of 250, 4 weapons, 3 aft, so you can have a good cannon setup. Only 2 device slots. I wish it had 1 more. And it's got a universal lieutenant station, a universal lieutenant commander station. So you could set this up as a science ship with science abilities, or you could go more the tactical route, which is actually what I've done, and I'll show you that. Base turn rate is 15 degrees per second. This thing turns awesome. That's the same as the Wells class. They also turn at 15 degrees per second. So this thing turns incredibly well. I am so impressed with the turn rate on it, actually. For a science officer or even a ship just that you're going to have cannons on, you want to turn around to the front of your ship, you know, as much as you can toward the enemy. And on this ship, I'm able to do that. It can equip weapons. The Wells class cannot equip weapons. So that's what is another thing unique to the Mirror Universe version. It has plus 10 power to weapons and plus 5 to auxiliary. That's less to auxiliary than the Science Vessel Wells class has. You get that console universal Mannheim Device. That Mannheim Device can also be put on the Wells class, so you get the 2 console bonus on either this ship or that ship, but you have to have both ships in order to get the console in the first place. So that's about the ship right there. Let's take a look at it real quick. Here's what it looks like in their picture. You can see it's very, very BA looking. Here is how I have equipped it for right now. I have put 3 dual heavy cannons on the front of it, and I was able to put the Tholian thermonic torpedo that I had from the Tholian Orb Weaver also on the front. Now this combined with Torpedo Spread 3, which I have thanks to my Jim Hadar bridge officer, is very, very powerful. Okay, I've also equipped the Borg deflector, Borg impulse engine, and the Borg universal assimilated module for that two-piece or that 3-piece Borg bonus, which is 2 bonuses. You get the hull and the shield heal from the Borg bonus. That's the best. That's just the best deal out there. And then for the shield, I have put Mako Resilient Mark 12 on there. And this shield, I was able to create a carbon fiber look on the hull of this ship, and I'll show you how I did that, because I actually had to go and select a paint scheme which allowed me to create a carbon fiber look on the ship, and I'll show you how I did that, because that's pretty. It looks awesome in space. Then on the aft, I have 3 turrets. So my goal is to keep my ship pointed at my enemy at all times in the front, right? And I'll have 3 turrets firing at once, and then 3 dual heavy cannons, and my thermonic torpedo. So that is, or thermionic torpedo. So that is an incredible amount of firepower for a science officer, right? My device slots, of course, I have the subspace field and red matter. Unfortunately, I lose a device slot compared to the Tholian ship I was using, which means I can't equip my Scorpion fighters, which I like to have on there. But, oh well, I'll have to sacrifice it. Engineering, I have Neutronium alloy, I have an EPS. I have a biofunction and the maximum shield capacity for the science stations. I had to do without the Hollow Matrix for right now because I've kind of done away with the science abilities and made this more of a tactical ship. Here is the Mannheim Device, so you can read about that. It summons 2 duplicates, creates a future and past quantum duplicate of your ship. And as you can see, there at the bottom here, there is Console Universal Mannheim Device and Console Universal Tippler Cylinder. So if I get the Tippler Cylinder, then I have the Set 2 bonus, which is called Fragment Time, and that's that backstep ability. But I have to have both devices. I have to have both consoles, and in order to do that, I have to have both ships, and I've only got one, so I can only use the Mannheim Device. But here's a little more info about the Manheim Device if you want to pause and read about that. And then the Manheim Effect, whole bunch of information right there about the effect, whole bunch of more information about that. You toggle it. It's got a 5-minute recharge, so it's kind of a long recharge, but it is useful. And like I said, if you combine it with Photonic Fleet, you got 5 ships at your side, so it's pretty darn awesome. Now, in addition to this ship, and you can also do this on the Wells class, they have special consoles for these temporal ships, right? They have a temporal disruption device, console, tachyonetic converter, and a chronoton dual beam array. These are consoles, so these go in a console slot, which means I would have to sacrifice something. These consoles have basically a 3-piece bonus. They have a 2-piece and a 3-piece. If you have 2 of these consoles on your ship, you have what is shown there, Set 2, that's called Chronoton Synchronicity. And then if you have all 3 consoles on your ship, you have something called Temporal Inversion Field. Okay, so this is unique because usually you get a bonus from your deflector and your shield and your engine. Well, now they have created new bonus sets that you can get from consoles, having multiple consoles. This is not the first time they've done it, but this is one of the more prominent ones because this is a 3-piece set. Actually, they did it with the Odyssey, but this is also on the temporal ships now. So each of these consoles does something different. The Temporal Disruption Device is a destructible projectile. It has a high area of effect, does a damage plus slow. It creates a level 51 temporal disruption device, and it does a 100% chance to reduce flight speed and turn speed by 33% plus 40% critical severity. So it's kind of like this device. Go to info here, you can read about it, that you shoot and it kind of explodes in a temporal wake or something. It has some kind of temporal component to it, right? So it does a lot of damage, slows them down, all that. Temporal warfare. So the whole set itself is called temporal warfare. If you get the set 2, if you have 2 of these consoles, you get what's called Chronoton Synchronicity, which is a passive ability, and it gives you extra damage to chronoton projection weapons. Chronoton projectile weapons. And if you have all 3, you have what's called a temporal inversion field, and this is unique. It affects foe 5-kilometer sphere, so it's a spherical kind of damage, to all enemies within 5 km. Negative 200% flight speed, negative 400% flight speed versus small craft, negative 150% turn rate, negative 150% power recharge speed. To self when equipped on Temporal Science Vessel Destroyer, it gives me a 50% flight speed improvement, a plus 100% turn rate, and a plus 150% power recharge speed. So very, very powerful set bonuses there. The tachyonetic converter itself gives you a flat out plus 22.9% flight turn rate, just flat out on your ship, plus 17.2 Starship Graviton generators, plus 0.76% critical chance, and plus 7.6% critical severity. So that, if that sounds at all familiar to you, it's because it is. The Bulwark Universal Console, look what it does. It gives you a critical chance boost plus 0.92% and a critical severity boost plus 9.2% and plus 22.9% to Starship Graviton generators. So what do you think? look, I got both of these installed. I've got the tachyonetic converter and that Borg universal assimilated module, so my critical chance has been improved like double. My critical severity is improved even more. I have even more Starship Graviton generators. Basically, it like really boosts up the abilities of that console universal module. So having both of these two consoles installed is incredible for this ship. And I cannot wait to get the other two consoles. I can't afford them, obviously, as you can see. But when I am able to, I will get the Temporal Disruption Device and then the Chronoton Dual Beam Array. It does energy damage to target, anti-proton damage, and to self, -10, to target 2.5% chances, significantly reduced flight speed, and plus 40% critical severity. I want these other two consoles. I mean, this is just incredible for this time ship. So basically, you have a total of 5 unique consoles you can get for the Wells class and the Mobius. Alright, you can get the Mannheim Device, you can get the Templar Device, then you can get the tachyonetic converter, then you can get the Temporal Disruption Device and the Chronoton Dual Beam Array. That's 5 consoles. And if you have all 5 consoles on your ship, you can just imagine how awesome that will be. I've only got one of the 3-piece console set and just the Mannheim Device right now. But when I can afford it, believe you me, I will be getting the other 2 consoles. And if I can, by some miracle, get it, also get the Templar Device. So that is going to mean I'll have to sacrifice some consoles, because obviously there's not enough console slots. I mean, I'm going to have to end up sacrificing something, which is going to be a hard decision, to be honest with you. But maybe the pros will outweigh the cons. That I will have to see about. But until then, this is my build. For my stations, like I said, you get 2 universal slots, so you could put a a better science position here, and in fact that's what I did. I put science here. You are limited to commander tactical. Okay, so you cannot have a commander science. That was kind of wrong, actually. You can't have a commander science. You can only have commander tactical, but you're still able to have lieutenant commander science, so decent enough. It's not really a science vessel, okay? Just flat out, this is not a science vessel. This is an escort, and I have put these abilities on there to fit in with that. They're not the best. In fact, if I was a tactical officer, this ship would actually fit a lot better on a tactical officer or an engineer. But on a science officer, I'm probably gimping it quite a bit. But hey, that's what I got. If I get any more of these ships, I will definitely put one on my tactical officer and my engineer. What I'd really like to do is have the Wells class science vessel on this character, which is a science character, and then on my engineer and my tactical have the destroyer. But that's expensive to do, and I just haven't. First of all, it's just pure luck getting the Wells class, and I haven't got it. Getting the destroyer, 800 low buy, I was only able to get 1. So I mean, I need several more, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. So it's going to be like forever. All right, so that's just a little introduction about the Mobius. The next thing I want to show you is how I got the carbon fiber look. So I am going to make a quick edit on this video and pause it and restart it when we're back at Earth Space Dock, so I can show you in the Taylor, the ship Taylor, how I did this carbon fiber look, and then we'll look at it in space, and then we'll go play Infected Space Elite. So stand by. And welcome back. So now we are at Earth Space Dock and we're at the ship Taylor. I want to show you one thing I did to the design of it. This is pretty much, if we go to Advanced, go to the patterns that you have available, and right now I've got on Aries. So go to None. This is what the ship looks like just out of the box, right? Nothing really changed. I didn't change anything on it. Pretty awesome paint job, skin, everything. Really unique about this ship. Okay. Well, one thing I did is I enabled a pattern on it, on the hull. You have bottom time disks and top time disks. These are the top time disks, and then these are the bottom time disks. You can customize those, but it wasn't really necessary. For the hull, what I did is I went to, what did I say, Aries. And as you can see, there's none, there's Aries. What it's doing is it's putting a black paint job. I had to select the colors of black, obviously, in the colors. It's putting a black paint job on the edges of the ship, right? Like all the edges of the ship now have a black paint job, which looks phenomenal. Now, by doing that, what it does is with the Mako shield, it creates a carbon fiber look, because the Mako shield has that, I don't know if it's octagonal or hexagonal or 6 sides or how many sides it has, but it has that, those circular looking things, basically. Here, I'll just show you. It looks like this, okay, which makes it look awesome. So if you go and turn off the visual effects of the Mako shield, disable visuals, this is what the ship looks like, okay? Pretty sweet. And you can see the black paint job on the edges. It's hard to see in space, but it's there. So now if we turn on the visual effects of the Mako shield, that creates this carbon fiber look on the, basically everywhere there's black. So on these edges, look at that. That is awesome looking. It almost looks organic in a way. And as you come around to the front, check that out. Check the side. All along the side here on the time discs. This is what I like. It puts that circly pattern on the time discs, which looks good. And then also on the back, I like this, or it has the has that kind of carbon fiber look right inside there and right on this thing here. And then underneath, it's harder to see in the dark, but it also has it underneath on the edges and on these time discs as well underneath. And then on the top and the rest of it, it's just made it more shiny, and it does still have circles on it, but it made it basically is real prominent on the edges with that paint job. And so when you zoom out, it just looks phenomenal, I think, in my opinion. I don't even need to turn on the Bulwark deflector or Bulwark engine visuals, because those actually hurt the visual impact of this ship, I think. So without them and just the Mako shield on, it looks absolutely incredible in combat. So this is my setup. We can look at my defense, and you can see that my hull strength right now is at 45,189. Really, really, really awesome for considering that I am a science officer and this is an escort. Yes, this is an escort with a 45,000 hull. I mean, the 45,000 hull you see mostly on cruisers, right? This is an escort. Now, my shields aren't as great as they were on the Tholian ship or even the retrofit Intrepid. 10,000 capacity, and that's with the maximum shield capacity console. If I take that off, it's 9229. So I had 14,000, I think, on the Tholian ship. So it's quite a reduction in shields, and especially also compared to the Wells class, but it's a big increase in the hull. So I guess, yeah, like I was saying, that kind of balances it out. I got my resist, bonus accuracy, crit chance. You can see how these consoles affect the crit chance and crit severity. So I can take off my tachyonetic converter and my Bulwark one. So here's what it is flat out. 50% crit severity, 2.5 crit chance, 15% bonus accuracy. I put the Bulwark one on. Goes up to 3.4 crit chance and 59.1 crit severity. And then the tachyonetic converter, I put it on as well, 4.2 and 66.8. So you can see that really helps. That does improve things. So if you get if you use anti-proton weapons, which also have the critical chance and crit severity bonus, built into them, and then you add, there's something else you can add as well that increases crit severity and all that stuff, and yeah, basically, I guess maybe a lot of the buffs on tactical would have that, wouldn't they? But anyway, you can see how using all those things in combination can really improve your critical chance and your critical severity if you want to go for that kind of thing. And I cannot wait, like I said, to get the other consoles, because really it's those consoles that make this ship really, really, really special. This ship and the Wells class. All those same consoles can be put on either time ship. Okay, so that is basically a rough look at the Destroyer, and now we're going to go see what it's like in games. So stand by, I'm going to do another pause, and I will come back when I've got Infected Space Elite all queued up. So I will see you guys in just a second. Oh, there was one more thing I wanted to show you before I get the Infected Space Elite queued up, and that's the Mannheim Device. Here's the button for it, Manheim Effect. Watch what happens when I activate it. The cylinders come up. My ship almost kind of separates into two. I have a past version of myself, ISS TARDIS, and a future version of myself. So that's the past version and future version. And as you move, they will also move along with you. And so this will really confuse the enemy. So you can see that it's pretty awesome having two extra ships with you, basically. And then when in combination, see, it doesn't last that long, though. Unfortunately, that's as long as it lasts. But you put that in combination with Photonic Fleet, and you got 5 ships. So, really nice. Okay. And as you can see, it's turning pretty well. This is the turn rate I have on it. Remember, that console also improves the turn rate. So I have that, and then I also have, of course, the Omega power. Look at that turning there, and then I could also increase it with that and increase it with that, and then I'm just spinning around in circles. I mean, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's what you need. Okay, one more pause and then we'll get to the game.